This is a reaction to an interview on gradient descent. Shout out to the Gradient Descent podcast. It's an interview with a Berkeley professor. Links in the show notes. And there's one particular topic that is being discussed, and that is safety of AI systems. Safety in a sense that we know what they're going to do. And the participants in the interview talk about self-driving and how end-to-end self-driving could potentially be dangerous because it seems like we don't know exactly what's going on in the system. And I want to say a few words about that. You can look at this from two different angles, right? You can look at this from the angle of, okay, do we actually need to understand what's going on? So it's the optimization of a system geared towards human understanding of what's going on, or you can set the goal of the system, which in the case of self-driving is transport with safety and low cost. That's the goal of particularly the Tesla full self-driving suite. And I think, in my opinion, it's the latter. Like, whether we understand exactly what's going on or not is actually not that important. What's really important is that the goals are met. So and I want to give a few analogies. Like, when they built the Golden Gate Bridge, they probably didn't know exactly every detail of the physics and every possible interaction between the static forces and the winds and the corrosion. But they had an overarching goal, which is to build this bridge and make it safe, and safe in a sense that it doesn't break down. It takes a certain amount of people and all that, and they've succeeded over 100 years, almost 100 years, with that. When we build airplanes, again, we don't quite understand every detail, but the airplanes are pretty safe. Now, of course, the pushback will be, yeah, but these are all deterministic systems. We know exactly at every step of the engineering process what's going on. And the difference with AI is that we don't know exactly what's going on within the engineering process. In other words, we don't know exactly why the AI is turning left, why it's turning right. And I would say, look, if you train end-to-end from pixels, you're giving up abstraction, but you are gaining in understanding and intelligence. And when people built airplanes, they gave up flapping wings and made airplanes a lot more efficient and a lot more faster and a lot more safer, actually. And I think in that same analogy, I think the power of the modern AI systems is exactly in their ability to iterate at scale and go through a lot of counterfactuals and come up with optimizations that actually provide against the goals of safety and cost, and that should be enough. And I think this struggle that I feel particularly in academia towards more mechanistic understanding and all that, it's, in one hand, I think it makes sense. I mean, these people a lot of them come from control theory, which the name says it already, has this implicit native, I want to control things. And there's nothing wrong with controlling things, but the question is always what's the overarching goal? Again, if the goal, like, I can have a much, much safer car than any car that's driving around today for $100,000. Which they do exist. I mean, there are these, let's say, ridiculous Mercedes-Benz SUVs. They're super safe, particularly for people that aren't safe drivers. For them, they're really safe. They're not exactly safe for everybody else, but they're at least safe for the people inside. So there are these trade-offs that you can make. I think what Tesla is trying to do in particular, they're not the only company out there, but I think what we here at Orange Capital Partners particularly cherish is this ability to actually bring this kind of safety to a lot of people. So at scale, at low cost. Safety is crucial, and I think Tesla is a perfect example of a company that puts that very high up, but it has to also be at a price point that is accessible to people. That's the key. And I think a lot of academics, it seems to me, protect their own turf more than anything else. And just for all the academics out there, just go back to to some of the people that I hope you do cherish, such as, for example, Alan Turing or Claude Shannon, and the fathers of computer science and AI. And Turing says you want to teach a system not how to think, but you want to teach a system how to think, how to learn like a child. And you can't control a child. A child will learn, and a child will grow up and be hopefully a productive person, but you can't control. I mean, if you want to do that, I don't think you're going to get very far. And Shannon, in his foundation of information theory, communication theory, actually, put deterministic understanding of things like, for example, noise, signal to noise, and things like that. He put that out of he actually showed the world in some of his fundamental papers that safety in communication, for example, signal in communication can be achieved with redundance. So it's not deterministic; it's statistical, and it's what's the goal, right? The goal is you don't know exactly when you send a signal from A to B what B is going to receive, but you can increase the likelihood that B will receive what A is intended to receive. So in that sense, I think AI is on good footing. I think we are at the cusp of a really new way of engineering, and that is engineering with systems that solve problems through iteration at scale. The lower the representation, the better, because we have more potential to learn. It's more expensive, it's more costly. I just had a conversation with Ranjay Krishna from Paul Allen School of Computer Science, and he works on representation for video and computer vision and robotics. And he says, look, I mean, if we put more abstract representation into the system, we save ourselves some data and compute, but we can replace that with we can go lower in representation if we invest more in compute and data, and of course also energy and memory and all these things. And I think that's what people are doing right now, and I think it's very successful. So I guess to summarize, I think we are in a world right now where there's a pushback from academia towards more mechanistic, controllable AI. And I think the conversation shouldn't be about how much can be controlled. The conversation should be about the goals that we're trying to achieve. And if safety is a goal that is being achieved, let's get lower, like for example, lower accident rates in self-driving cars. And that is something we should be striving towards, and not put barriers in the road here just because we want to have some sort of explainability that maybe comes from a legacy thinking, or even worse, actually has to do with regulatory capture. Thank you.